Welcome back to 100 Movies Everyone Should Watch, where today we are going to be covering the 1960s, which is what I consider to be the most influential decade of all movie history. Our first movie is Butch, Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which tells the story of two train robbers in the Wild West who try to flee to Bolivia. What is so great about this movie is how it centers around two criminals. Two people that would have previously have been antagonists are now protagonists. This is by no means the first movie to do so, but it did in a way that forever popularized it because of the two great lead actors. Robert Redford and Paul Newman do a great job at being lovable bad guys, and if you remember from last episode, quite a few of those movies featured leading antagonists. This movie left its mark on the film industry and forever changed the way that good guys are portrayed in movies. This is the 43rd of 100 movies everyone should watch. Easy Rider is a movie that reflects the 1960s in a way that most movies don't. The movie tells the story about bikers who ride across the country in search for the real America. The reason that this movie makes my list is that it perfectly captures the ups and downs of counterculture. This movie left its mark on the film industry in more than just one way, however. In addition to being a good look into counterculture, and it shows that traditional storytelling is not necessary to making a great movie. This is a character-driven movie, and one of the first character-driven movies out there. The movie has inspired so many excellent movies to come, and is just as innovative as it is great.
Here's the first of the day, fellas. To old D.H. Lawrence.
2001: A Space Odyssey shows off the best special effects the world has ever seen. The movie is about mankind and how, after finding a mysterious artificial object, humanity is able to take the next step forward and advance as a culture. This movie forever changed how movies are made. When it comes to the visuals alone, this movie is top-notch. Incredible cinematography, but amazing practical effects. This is a movie about the next step for mankind, and it's fitting, as this movie is the next step for filmmaking. This movie is the reason that other movies are able to look and sound the way they are today. 2001: A Space Odyssey not only set the standard, which is a standard that is yet to be matched for special effects, but is also incredible in terms of storytelling. The movie touches upon greater themes that aren't always touched upon in movies prior to this, and forever changed cinema.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Although The Graduate ended up being edgy in terms of sexual content in movies, the real reason that this movie makes my list is that it's one of the funniest, best written, and best acted American comedies of all time. Dustin Hoffman plays a college student who is torn in a love triangle between his fiancée and her mother. The movie is simple and funny, and the movie is one that almost anyone can enjoy. This is a movie that just works. If you want to see the comedy that works on a few different levels, that is, comedic, dramatic, and captures the essence of counterculture, then this is the movie for you. Everyone is great, and this movie has left its mark on the film history.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me. Aren't you?
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is the best Western ever made. Period. It tells the story of the relationship between three characters in their search to find a fortune of gold. This is a movie that I would say is held up better than 99% of the movies out there. It's fun to watch, and despite the 3-hour runtime, the movie really feels like it's half that. It is a great standalone sequel. It is well written, well performed, and iconic. It is a movie that has shaped the action hero that we all know and love today. There isn't a whole lot to say about this movie except that it is incredible. It holds up so well, and is the 46th movie on my list. Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, is the first real black and white movie on this list. The movie is a war satire that tells the story of an accidental missile that is launched, and a group of international leaders try and meet to stop the world's destruction. What is so great about this movie is that anyone can find something enjoyable about it. Whether you want a comedy, a great satire, or an incredible social statement, this movie's going to satisfy. When it comes to how it's made, well, it's made very well. It's well written, well acted, well directed, and forever changed the way that comedies are made. This is the movie that changed the comedy genre forever, and is another work of brilliance by Stanley Kubrick.
Look at this, Mr. President. This lousy commie rat was taking pictures with this thing on the big board.
Dr. No started my favorite film series and forever changed the action movie genre. The movie tells the story of Bond, James Bond, a British secret agent who is tasked to look into the disappearance of a colleague and a disruption of the United States' space race program. Part of what I love about this movie is that its insight into the pre-moon landing world, and it's so interesting to see that insight that is simply not there today. However, this movie also paved the way for movies to have an increased level of sexual content, but above all that, this movie started one of the best film series of all time. It may not be the best preview for what the film series has become, but it is one of the most essential movies of the 1960s.
Bond. James Bond.
Lawrence of Arabia might be the best-looking, earthbound movie of all time, that follows a British military figure and his loyalties during the war. This is one of those movies where the visuals make it great. I don't say this about every movie, but make sure you watch it on the biggest screen with the highest possible quality because this is a movie that is a feast for your eyes and ears. On a technical level, this movie is incredible. It has awesome visuals, awesome editing, great directing, and is overall a masterpiece. Every actor is phenomenal, the story is epic, and overall, Lawrence of Arabia is one of the best American movies of all time.
I told you, sir, no such treaty exists.
Yes, General, you have lied most bravely, but not convincing.
West Side Story is my favorite musical movie out there. It is fun, lighthearted, and an awesome modern adaptation of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. This is one of those movies that I like to watch a few times a year, and whenever I do, I come out in a much better mood. It's so well choreographed, it's well written, well directed, and overall just one of those movies that is impossible to dislike. This is a movie that really hasn't inspired many others, but I think that's because it's really in a league of its own. This is a movie that's fun to watch, it holds up very well, and is the 50th out of 100 movies everyone should watch. When you look at a movie like The Hustler, you can really see the evolution of filmmaking through history. The movie tells the relatively simple story about a pool player and his rival. What I love about this movie is how you can see the change from the 50s into the 60s. This movie has what I consider to be one of the best performances of the 1960s by Paul Newman. This is a movie that just works. Despite being well over 50 years old, it holds up today because it touches upon universally known themes, and does it very well. This is a movie that most people can enjoy, and although it isn't the fastest paced movie out there, it's well put together, well written, and a fun time.
I dreamed about this game, fat man. I dreamed about this game every night on the road. 5-ball.
Psycho ended up changing the film industry more than any Whoa. What on earth is this doing here? You, get out of here. You're not even a real movie. Out now. As I was saying, Psycho ended up changing the film industry more than any other movie. The movie tells the story of a secretary who steals $40,000 and tries to run away to start a new life. What I love about this movie is how it broke the traditional rules of movie making. I don't want to spoil what happens in this movie, but the movie has a major twist halfway through this movie. And it's a movie that opened the doors for movies to experiment and see what happens when you break the standards that are already set. Moreover, this is a movie that pushed the boundaries of what's allowed on screen. The combination of sexual content and intense violence made it so that future movies could step forward and push these boundaries. This movie is iconic, this movie is great, and the state of movies would be somewhere else, if not for this masterpiece.
He just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes.
Make sure you join me next week when we cover the 1950s.